The rain hits the job site like God's own judgment, turning fresh concrete into gray soup and sending my crew scrambling for their trucks. I watch the foreman wave his arms, hollering over the storm about calling it early, about Monday morning, about insurance liability. Standard Friday afternoon chaos when Mother Nature decides to remind us who's really in charge. I pack my tools methodically, wire strippers in their slot, multimeter wrapped in its case. Everything where it belongs, same as every day for 16 years. The other guys rush, cursing the weather, but I've learned that haste creates problems. Better to do it right the first time. Danny approaches, water dripping from his hard hat. "Chris, you heading home? This storm's supposed to get worse." I nod, shouldering my tool bag. "Lauren's expecting me late anyway." The lie comes easy because it's mostly true. She stopped expecting me at any particular time years ago. But today feels different. Today, I might surprise her. The drive home takes 20 minutes through sheets of rain that turn my windshield into a kaleidoscope. Our neighborhood, modest 2 stories built in the 80s, lawns that stay green if you work at it, sits quiet under the storm. I pull into our driveway and notice her car's there, which means she skipped her afternoon yoga class. The front door's unlocked. It always is. Lauren trusts the world in ways that used to charm me and now just seem naive. I step inside, water dripping from my jacket onto the hardwood we refinished 3 summers ago. The house smells like vanilla candles and something else, something masculine that doesn't belong. I call out to the empty-seeming house. "Lauren?" No answer, but I hear voices from upstairs. Laughter. Male voices, more than one, mixed with her laugh. The bright musical sound she used to make when we were dating and everything felt possible. I stand at the bottom of the stairs, rain still ticking against the windows, and listen to my wife enjoying herself with men who aren't me. Part of me wants to charge up there, demand explanations, reclaim whatever territory I've lost. The larger part just feels tired. Instead, I climb the stairs slowly, my work boots careful on each step. The voices grow clearer. Our bedroom. The doors open. I see her first, Lauren, naked from the waist up, hair loose around her shoulders like spun gold. She's laughing at something one of them said. 3 men. I recognize one from her yoga studio, another from the hardware store where she sometimes drags me on weekends. The third is younger, maybe 25, with the kind of easy confidence that comes from never being told no. None of them notice me. They're too busy with her, too caught up in whatever game they're playing to sense the husband standing in the doorway. I watch for maybe 10 seconds. Long enough to understand this isn't a mistake or a moment of weakness. This is practiced, comfortable. This has been happening for a while. Then I turn around and walk back downstairs. My hands don't shake as I pack a bag. Underwear, socks, work clothes for Monday. I move through our home, the kitchen where we planned our future, the living room where we watched movies and argued about paint colors, like I'm inventorying someone else's life. I write a note on the kitchen counter. Staying at the Hampton Inn on Route 9. I almost add something about love or forgiveness or working through this, but the words feel false in my mouth. So I just sign it Chris and leave. The Hampton Inn smells like industrial carpet and broken dreams. I pay cash for a week, tell the clerk I'm between apartments. In my room, beige walls, queen bed, television bolted to the dresser, I sit on the edge of the mattress and stare at my phone. 47 missed calls from Lauren, 62 text messages that start with "Chris, please," and escalate to "you're overreacting," and finally settle into "we need to talk like adults." I delete them all without reading past the first few words. Then I change my voicemail message. "You've reached a number that's no longer in service. Do not call again." I deactivate Facebook, Instagram, everything that connects me to the person I was 6 hours ago. The man who believed in marriage vows and shared mortgages and growing old together. That man died today. I'm someone else now, someone who doesn't get surprised by his wife's laughter mixing with strangers' voices in their marriage bed. 16 years. That's how long it takes to build a life with someone, and apparently how quickly it can all become evidence in your own trial. I sit in this motel room with a legal pad, making lists like I'm preparing for an audit. I met Lauren at a job site. She was 24, working part-time at the design firm that handled the commercial space we were wiring. I was installing outlets in what would become the reception area when she walked in with fabric samples and blueprints, talking to the project manager about color palettes and natural light. She noticed me crouched beside the electrical panel. "You're the electrician." Not a question. I looked up from my work, wire strippers in hand. "Guilty as charged." The line made her laugh, a genuine sound that cut through the construction noise. We dated for 8 months before I proposed. The house came 2 years later, a 1960s fixer-upper in a neighborhood that was transitioning, which meant we could afford it if we were willing to do the work ourselves. Lauren wanted the big backyard. She talked about children running through sprinklers, birthday parties on the deck I promised to build. She walked through the empty rooms, her voice echoing with possibility. 3 bedrooms, 1 for us, 1 for a nursery, and 1 for guests. I installed every switch and outlet in that house, rewired the kitchen when we upgraded the appliances, built the deck she wanted, complete with built-in planters where she grew herbs and flowers. Every nail I drove, every wire I pulled, was an investment in our future. The fertility issues started in year 5. We tried for 2 years before seeing doctors, then another 3 years of tests and procedures and carefully timed intimacy that felt more like homework than love. After the 4th miscarriage, I held her while she cried. "Maybe it's not meant to be." She pulled back, eyes fierce through her tears. "Don't say that. Don't give up on us." So I didn't. I built the swing set anyway, because hope dies hard in men who work with their hands. It sits in our backyard now, weathered gray, waiting for children who never came. The drift between us was so gradual I almost didn't notice. Lauren started staying later at work, then picked up yoga classes. I took on overtime projects, told myself we needed the money for the next round of treatments. We stopped talking about anything deeper than grocery lists and utility bills. But I never imagined this. Infidelity was something that happened to other people. On Saturday morning, I call Mark Hendricks. We went to high school together, and he's been practicing family law for 15 years. His voice is careful when he answers. "Jesus, Chris, how are you holding up?" "I'm fine," I say, though we both know that's not true. "I need to know my options." He explains the process. Pennsylvania's a no-fault state, but adultery can affect alimony. Documentation matters. The house is in both our names, but I put down the down payment from money I'd saved before we met. Mark's voice turns professional, lawyer-like. "You want advice? Control what you can control. She's going to try to make this about emotions, guilt, forgiveness, working through problems. Don't let her make it about facts." That afternoon, I drive to the bank. Our joint account has $47,000. I transfer half to a new account in my name only. The house is empty when I stop by for more clothes. Lauren's car is gone, probably at her sister's place. I pack methodically. Work clothes, winter coat, the toolbox I keep in the garage for home projects. In our bedroom, I find evidence of my replacement. Men's cologne that isn't mine. Condom wrappers in the trash. A business card for someone named Derek who does personal training and lifestyle coaching. I photograph everything with my phone, then email the pictures to Mark. Evidence. Documentation. Facts. I walk through the house one more time. The kitchen island where we ate breakfast for 16 years. The living room where we watched movies. The guest bedroom where Lauren would disappear some evenings, claiming she needed space to think. I see it all differently now. Not as our shared life, but as the stage where she performed the role of faithful wife while auditing other options. That evening, I spread Mark's paperwork across the motel table. Divorce forms, financial disclosure statements, a custody agreement template that makes me laugh bitterly. No children to fight over, just two adults dividing the wreckage. Lauren calls while I'm reading through alimony guidelines. I let it ring until voicemail picks up, then delete the message without listening. Whatever she wants to say, explanations, apologies, justifications, none of it changes what I saw. By Monday, I've made my strategic decisions. Let Lauren keep the house, but also let her keep the mortgage payments, insurance, utilities, all the monthly obligations I'd been covering. Give her what she thinks she wants, along with everything that comes with it. Within 6 months, she'll understand what I really took when I left. 6 months later, I'm someone else entirely. James C. Hale, according to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation and the Social Security Administration. My middle name was always James, so it doesn't feel like lying, just editing out the parts that don't serve me anymore. The mountains of northern Pennsylvania swallow people like me, men running from something they can't fix, looking for places where nobody asks questions about your past. I rent a cabin outside a town called Cedar Falls, population 2,400, where the biggest excitement is high school football and the coffee shop stays open past 9 only on Fridays. Work comes through word of mouth. Tommy Briggs owns the local hardware store and needs someone to wire his new storage building. I do the job for half what a licensed contractor would charge, cash only, no paperwork. Tommy's pleased enough to recommend me to his brother-in-law. Mrs. Patterson watches me install a new ceiling fan in her dining room. You're good with your hands. I smile and nod. The truth is, I'm good at disappearing into work. Every outlet installed, every switch wired, every junction box properly grounded. It's all proof that I still exist, still have value. The locals accept me gradually. Cedar Falls is the kind of place where showing up consistently matters more than where you came from. I drink coffee at Emma's Diner, shop at Tommy's hardware store, attend the occasional town council meeting. Rachel appears on a Tuesday in October when the leaves are turning and the air tastes like wood smoke. She owns the bookstore, one of those cluttered, impossible businesses that should have died when Amazon took over the world, but somehow survives on stubbornness and local loyalty. She approaches while I'm checking voltage on a problematic outlet, carrying coffee and wearing a sweater the color of autumn leaves. You must be James. Emma mentioned you were helping with the electrical work. She's maybe 35. Dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, laugh lines around her eyes that suggest she finds the world more amusing than disappointing. I set down my multimeter and straighten. Guilty as charged. The old line feels different on my tongue now. Lighter. She gestures around the cluttered space. Well, I'm Rachel. This is my disaster of a bookstore. Books are stacked everywhere. On shelves, on tables, in cardboard boxes that suggest an organizational system only she understands. But there's something warm about the chaos. I survey the space with an electrician's eye. It's not so bad, just needs better lighting to show it off properly. We talk while I work. She tells me about growing up in Cedar Falls, leaving for college in Philadelphia, coming back when her father died and left her the store. I tell her I'm from Pennsylvania originally, that I needed a change of scenery, that I like the quiet. All true, just not complete. She doesn't push for details. That's the first thing I notice about Rachel. She listens to what you say instead of hunting for what you're not saying. The lighting project takes 3 days, mostly because I find reasons to stretch it out. On Friday, when the work's finished, she wipes her hands on her apron and looks around at the improved space. It looks completely different. Would you like to get dinner? As a thank you. We eat at the only restaurant in town that isn't fast food. Rachel orders the meatloaf. I get the fried chicken. We talk about movies, about places we've traveled, about the difference between being alone and being lonely. She cuts a piece of meatloaf and considers her words. I like living here. People think small towns are boring, but I think they're just patient. Things happen, but they happen at a human pace. We date slowly. Coffee on Saturday mornings, dinner at her place, where she cooks simple meals, and we listen to NPR. A movie at the tiny theater that shows second-run films for $4 a ticket. Rachel doesn't ask about my past, and I don't volunteer much. She knows I was married before, that it didn't work out, that I needed to start over. She accepts this with patient curiosity, but no pressure. The first time we sleep together, it's December, and snow is falling outside her bedroom window. She lives above the bookstore in an apartment that feels like the inside of a jewelry box, small and perfectly arranged. We move toward each other carefully, like people handling something fragile. Afterward, lying in her narrow bed with her head on my chest, she traces patterns on my skin. Her voice is quiet in the darkness. You don't have to tell me about what happened before, but someday, if you want to, I'll listen. I want to tell her everything, but those words feel dangerous, like they might contaminate this clean, simple thing we're building together. So I just kiss the top of her head and murmur, someday. 2 years pass like this. I get my Pennsylvania electrical license under my new name, start taking bigger jobs. Rachel and I move in together. Her apartment is small, but so is my collection of worldly possessions. We talk about marriage the way people discuss vacation plans. I propose on a Tuesday in March, after we've spent the weekend building bookshelves. No ring, no fancy restaurant, no speech about forever. Just me, covered in sawdust, handing her the keys to a house I've been renovating in secret. She takes the keys, her eyes wide with surprise. What is this? It's ours, I say, if you want it. The house is a 1950s ranch on 2 acres outside town. Nothing fancy, but solid. I've spent 8 months rewiring, replumbing, refinishing floors. Every surface touched by my hands, every improvement an act of faith. Rachel takes the keys and smiles, that smile that reaches her eyes. I want it. We marry in May at the courthouse, with Tommy and his wife as witnesses. Afterward, we have dinner at the family restaurant where we had our first date. This time, when Rachel laughs at something I say, I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. That night, in our house, Rachel falls asleep with her head on my shoulder while I listen to the settling sounds of home. I think about the man I used to be, buried somewhere in Pennsylvania under a different name. He seems like a stranger now. I never told Rachel about Lauren. I buried that story like a body, deep enough that it can't hurt anyone anymore. 3 years into our marriage, on a Thursday that starts like any other, my past shows up wearing a sundress and carrying a little girl who looks like me. I'm working a job site for a new housing development when I hear my old name floating across the construction noise. Chris Delaney. I climb down from my ladder slowly, every movement deliberate. She's standing by the temporary fence that separates the work site from the parking area. Lauren, but not the Lauren I remember. Thinner now, her face drawn in ways that speak of hard years. Next to her stands a little girl, maybe 6 years old, with blonde hair and gray eyes that look familiar in a way that makes my chest tight. Lauren's voice is careful, measured. I need to talk to you. My crew is watching. I wave them off and lead Lauren away from the others, toward the sales trailer where we can have privacy. How did you find me? Her smile is bitter. It took 3 years. Private investigator. The little girl stays close to Lauren's side, one small hand clutching her mother's dress. She has my nose, my chin, the same stubborn cowlick I've been fighting my whole life. Lauren's hand rests protectively on the child's shoulder. This is Ella. She's 6 years old. I do the math. Born 9 months after I left. DNA test? I have the results in the car. Lauren's voice is steady. But you don't need them. Look at her. The resemblance is undeniable. She has my father's jawline, my mother's mouth. She's a Delaney wearing Lauren's last name. I keep my voice flat, businesslike. What do you want? The sales trailer is empty. We sit at the conference table where buyers usually review floor plans. Ella climbs into the chair next to Lauren and swings her legs, bored by adult conversation. Lauren delivers the news without preamble. Rick died. Overdose. 3 months ago. Rick. The young one from the yoga studio. I remember him laughing at something Lauren said while I stood in the doorway of my own bedroom. I'm sorry, I say, because that's what you say. Lauren's voice becomes matter of fact, reciting facts. We got married 2 years ago. After the divorce was final, he adopted Ella, gave her his last name. But then the drugs got worse, and the money ran out, and... She stops, takes a breath. I lost the house, foreclosure. We've been staying in motels. Why now? Because she's starting to ask questions about her father, about why she doesn't look like Rick, and because you have a right to know. I study the little girl, my daughter, coloring carefully in a book with unicorn stickers. She has my focus, my attention to detail. The child notices my attention and looks up. Hi, are you my mommy's friend? Something like that, I say. Lauren tells me the rest. How she realized she was pregnant a month after I left. How she tried to convince Rick the baby was his, but the timing didn't work. How she gave birth alone, using my insurance that was still active during our separation. Her voice softens. I named her Ella Christine. Christine for you. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. Instead, I feel nothing. A clean, empty space where emotions should be. I'm not here to ruin your life, Lauren continues. I know you've built something new. I just thought you should know about her. I cut to what matters. How much do you need? Lauren's face shows hurt. That's not why I'm here. Everything's about money, Lauren. How much? She straightens in her chair. I don't want your money. I want you to know her. Maybe not now, but someday. She deserves to know where she came from. Does she? My voice is harder now. Does she deserve to know her father is a man who walked away from everything? Does she deserve to know her mother destroyed their family before she was even born? Lauren's voice drops to a whisper. I made mistakes, but she's innocent. I look at Ella again. Innocent. Yes. But innocence doesn't erase consequences. I can't. Lauren leans forward. Can't what? I can't be her father. I can't pretend that blood makes us family. I built something new, Lauren. Something clean. I won't let you poison it. She's your daughter. My voice is final. She's a stranger. A stranger you created with my DNA while you were destroying our marriage. Lauren's face crumples, but I'm already standing to leave. Her voice breaks as she accepts defeat. Fine. When she asks about her father someday, I'll tell her I tried. They start packing up. Ella looks confused by the sudden activity. Are we leaving? She asks. Lauren's voice is gentle with her daughter. Yes, sweetheart. But I'm not done with my castle. You can finish it later. As they reach the door, Ella waves. Bye. I hope you have a good day. The simple kindness hits me unexpectedly. You too. After they leave, I sit alone in the sales trailer, staring at the unfinished castle coloring page Ella left behind. The unicorn is complete, every line carefully colored. But the castle remains half-finished, abandoned when circumstances changed. I throw the page in the trash and go back to work. That night, I don't tell Rachel about the visit. Instead, I hold her while she sleeps and listen to the familiar sounds of our quiet life. Some doors, once closed, should stay closed. I don't sleep that night. Instead, I lie next to Rachel and stare at the ceiling while my mind runs calculations I don't want to make. Child support, custody arrangements, paternity tests that would make everything official. At 3 a.m., I give up on sleep and move to the kitchen. I make coffee and sit at the table where Rachel and I plan our normal days. The life I built to replace the one Lauren destroyed. I could write the child a letter, explain why I can't be part of her life but leave the door open for when she's 18. I draft it twice on a legal pad, crossing out words, rewriting sentences. Dear Ella, I begin, then realize I don't know what comes next. I tear up both drafts. By morning, I've decided to call Mark. He's still practicing family law in Philadelphia, still cleaning up the messes people make of their personal lives. His voice carries familiar concern. Jesus, Chris, when did you find out? Yesterday. And you're sure she's yours? She looks like my baby pictures. Lauren says she has DNA results. Mark's tone becomes professional. Worst case scenario. If she pursues paternity through the courts, you're looking at 18% of your gross income until the kid turns 18, plus potential back support. Can she do that? After 6 years? Pennsylvania allows retroactive support in some cases, but she has to find you again, and you've done a good job disappearing. I press for more information. What about custody? Courts can't force you to be a father. They can force you to pay support if paternity is established, but they can't make you visit or care. Mark's advice is clear. Then my advice is to do nothing. Don't acknowledge paternity. Don't engage. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stay away. After we hang up, I drive to the job site and work until my hands are raw. By afternoon, I've made my decision. I stop at a FedEx store and send an overnight letter to Lauren, care of the last address Mark's investigator found. Inside, I include a cashier's check for $5,000 and one paragraph. This is the only assistance you'll receive from me. I've never been a father to this child, and I never will be. If you contact me again or attempt to contact my wife or interfere with my life in any way, I will pursue legal action. Use the money to start over somewhere else. I don't sign it. Rachel is in the bookstore when I get home, doing inventory while NPR plays softly. She looks up when I walk in, smiles that smile that always makes me feel like I've come home to something worth keeping. Good day? She asks. Long day, I say. How was yours? Her smile is amused. Mrs. Patterson came in looking for romance novels. Said she's tired of reading about people dying. This is what I'm protecting. This quiet, normal life where the biggest drama is Mrs. Patterson's reading preferences. The words come out more intense than I intended. I love you. Rachel looks slightly surprised by the force of it. I love you too. Everything okay? Everything's perfect, I say, and for the first time in 24 hours, that feels true. That weekend, I change our bank accounts to a different institution. I update our address with the post office to a P.O. box. Small precautions, but necessary ones. I don't hear from Lauren again. The check never gets cashed, which means either she moved again or she understood the message. Either way, the silence feels like victory. Months pass. Rachel and I plant a garden, travel to Philadelphia for a long weekend, talk about maybe getting a dog. Normal life resumes its rhythm, and I start to believe that some ghosts really can be laid to rest. Then Lauren shows up at Rachel's bookstore. Rachel calls me at the job site on a Tuesday afternoon. Her voice is steady, but I can hear something underneath. James, there's a woman here who says she knows you. She's asking to speak with you. My hands stop moving. What's her name? She said to tell you it's about Ella. My blood turns cold. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Don't let her leave. I park outside the bookstore and see them through the window. Lauren sitting in one of Rachel's reading chairs, Ella on the floor with a picture book. 7 years old now, still carefully turning pages. Rachel meets me at the door. She won't tell me what this is about. I look at my wife and realize I can't protect her from this anymore. Her name is Lauren. She's my ex-wife. The little girl is my daughter. Rachel's face doesn't change, but I see her processing. Your daughter. Biologically, I've never been part of her life. But you knew about her. Yes. Rachel nods slowly. What do you want to do? This is why I love her. No immediate questions, no accusations. Just trust that I'll handle it appropriately. We walk into the store together. Lauren stands when she sees me. Hello, Chris. It's James now, I say. This is my wife, Rachel. Lauren's voice carries bitter understanding. Of course it is. New name, new life, new wife. What do you want, Lauren? I want what I've always wanted, for you to acknowledge your daughter. We discussed this. My answer hasn't changed. Lauren's posture straightens with determination. Things have changed. We're not transient anymore. I got a job in Scranton, found an apartment. Ella's in school. We're stable. Congratulations. She needs a father figure. She's asking questions about why all her friends have dads and she doesn't. I glance at Rachel, who's listening with careful attention. That's your problem to solve, I tell Lauren. Not mine. Lauren's voice rises slightly. She's 7 years old, Chris. She didn't choose any of this. Neither did I. You made these choices. Every consequence that followed was your responsibility. Ella looks up from her book, sensing tension. She has the wariness of a child who's learned that raised voices mean everything's about to change. Her small voice cuts through our argument. Mommy? Lauren immediately softens. It's okay, sweetheart. These are just friends of Mommy's. Rachel steps forward then. She's been studying Ella while Lauren and I argued. Her observation is quiet but pointed. She looks like you. Not accusatory, just observational. DNA doesn't make a family, I say. Rachel meets my eyes. No, but it makes a connection, whether you want it or not. I turn to look at my wife, surprised. I expected support, solidarity. You think I should? I think I need to understand what happened, all of it. So I tell her. Standing in her bookstore with my ex-wife and biological daughter listening, I explain everything. The betrayal, the humiliation, the calculated way I burned everything down and rebuilt myself. I found her in our bed with 3 men, I say. Not 1. 3. She'd been having affairs for years. Everything I thought was real was performance. Rachel's face shows nothing, but her hands are very still. When I left, I took half our money and let her keep the house. But I also let her keep the mortgage, the utilities, all the bills I'd been paying. Within 6 months, she lost everything. Lauren interrupts. That wasn't revenge. That was survival. Was it? Because it felt like justice. I tell Rachel about the DNA test, about Lauren's request for me to be part of Ella's life, about my decision to refuse any contact. I've built something clean with you, I say. Something honest. I won't let the mistakes of my past destroy what we have. Rachel walks over to Ella, who's been pretending to read while listening. Her voice is gentle. What's your name? The child looks up with serious eyes. Ella Christine Morrison. My daddy died, but my mommy says maybe I have another daddy somewhere. What do you think about that? Ella considers seriously. I think it would be nice to have a daddy, but only if he wanted to be my daddy. I don't want a daddy who's sad about it. The simplicity hits me harder than any of Lauren's arguments. Rachel straightens and looks at me. I need to talk to you outside. We step onto the sidewalk. Main Street is quiet in the afternoon lull. Rachel's voice is controlled. You lied to me. I omitted. For 3 years. About having a child. About having biological offspring with a woman who destroyed my faith in marriage. There's a difference. Rachel crosses her arms. From where I'm standing, it looks like you've spent our entire relationship hiding something fundamental about who you are. Who I am is the man who chooses you every day, who built this life with you. By lying. By editing. By choosing which parts of my past are relevant to our future. And you think a 7-year-old girl isn't relevant? I think she's a weapon Lauren uses to manipulate people. I think acknowledging her opens a door I can never close again. Rachel stares at me. Do you want to know what I think? I'm not sure I do. I think you're scared. I think you're so afraid of being hurt again that you're willing to hurt an innocent child to protect yourself. The man you married is exactly this person, I say. Someone who learned from his mistakes. Someone who protects what matters. She's not a mistake, James. She's a little girl who wants to know her father. She has a father. He's dead, but she had one. I'm just the sperm donor. Rachel flinches. God, listen to yourself. You want me to what? Embrace fatherhood 7 years late? Welcome Lauren back into my life because she managed to get pregnant? I want you to do the right thing. I am doing the right thing. I'm protecting us. Rachel's voice is quiet but firm. It looks a lot like cowardice to me. The words hang between us like a challenge. I think about all the ways I could respond. Instead, I just feel tired. Maybe it is cowardice, I say. But this is who I am now, Rachel. This is the man you married. If that's not enough, don't turn this into an ultimatum about our marriage. This is about you and your responsibility to that little girl. I don't have any responsibility to her. You have every responsibility to her. She exists because of choices you made. We stand at an impasse that feels familiar and terrifying. Through the window, I can see Lauren and Ella. The little girl has moved to another book, something that makes her smile. What do you want me to do? Rachel's voice is gentle but determined. I want you to go back in there and have a conversation with your daughter. Not about custody or support, just a conversation. Let her ask questions. Give her something to hold on to. And then we figure out what comes next. Together. I look at my wife, the woman who found me when I was broken and helped me rebuild. She's asking me to do something that terrifies me. Okay, I say. One conversation. We go back inside. Lauren looks up hopefully. Ella has moved on to a third book. I approach slowly, like you would a startled animal. Ella, would you like to ask me some questions? She considers this seriously. Are you my daddy? Biologically, yes. That means we share DNA. But I haven't been your father. I haven't been part of your life. Her next question is simple and devastating. Why not? I glance at Lauren. Your mother and I had problems. Adult problems that happened before you were born. I made choices that meant I couldn't be around when you were growing up. Were you sad about me? The question hits like a physical blow. I was sad about a lot of things. But you were never the problem, Ella. Adults sometimes make messes, and children get caught in them. Do you want to be my daddy now? I look at this little girl, my daughter, who's asking the one question I can't answer the way she wants me to. I want you to be happy, I say finally. I want you to have a good life, with people who love you, but I don't think I'm the right person to be your daddy. Ella nods solemnly. That's okay. Maybe someday you'll change your mind. Maybe, I say, though we both know I won't. Lauren stands then, gathering Ella's things. Thank you, she says to Rachel, for letting us talk. Then she turns to me. And thank you for being honest with her. They leave through the front door, Ella waving goodbye. I watch them walk to their car and drive away. Rachel's voice is quiet. How do you feel? Like I did the right thing for the wrong reasons, I say. Or the wrong thing for the right reasons. Do you think you'll see her again? I hope not, I say, and realize I mean it. Not because I don't care about Ella. Somewhere in my chest, there's a small, painful place that recognizes her as mine, but because caring changes nothing. That night, Rachel and I eat dinner in silence. Then we sit on our couch, reading our separate books, existing in the same space without needing to fill it with words. Before bed, Rachel stops and looks at me. I understand why you made the choices you did, she says. I don't agree with all of them, but I understand. Does that mean we're okay? It means we're going to work on being okay, she says. But James, if she comes back, don't hide from me. Let me help you figure it out. Okay, I say. She turns to go, then pauses. She really does look like you, especially around the eyes. I know. Do you think you'll ever wonder about what kind of person she becomes, what kind of life she has? I consider lying, giving Rachel the answer that would be easier for both of us. Instead, I tell the truth. Every day, I say, for the rest of my life. 5 years later, I'm installing a ceiling fan in the master bedroom of a house that looks nothing like the one I shared with Lauren. The owners are young, late 20s, and they have that particular energy of people who still believe in forever. The husband tests the wobble with his hand. You think it'll last? The marriage, I mean, not the fan. I look at him, young, earnest, probably married less than 2 years. The fan will last 20 years if you maintain it properly. The marriage will last as long as you both choose it to last. His wife laughs from the doorway. That's not very romantic. Romance is what gets you to the altar, I say. Choice is what keeps you there. They exchange a look that suggests they think I'm being cynical. Maybe I am. Or maybe I've just learned that love without strategy is just another word for hope. Rachel and I have been married 8 years now. We know each other's rhythms, each other's silences. She runs the bookstore. I run my electrical business. We have dinner together most nights, travel once a year, argue occasionally about money or whether to get a dog. Normal life, measured in normal moments. I never hear from Lauren again. Never see Ella. Sometimes I wonder if they moved away from Pennsylvania entirely, started over somewhere that doesn't hold so many complicated memories. I hope they found something stable, something sustainable. I hope Ella got the father she deserved, even if it wasn't me. The young husband calls later with a question about the fan's remote control. His wife is laughing in the background about something unrelated. They sound happy in the careless way of people who haven't learned yet how easily happiness can be lost. The red button, I tell him. Red is power, white is light, blue is speed. Got it. Thanks. And hey, thanks for the advice earlier, about choice and all that. You're welcome. Can I ask you something? Are you happy? With your choice, I mean. I look at Rachel, still reading in the golden light of evening. At our house, our life, our quiet understanding of what we both need to feel safe in the world. I'm content, I say, which is better than happy, because it doesn't depend on circumstances staying the same. After I hang up, Rachel and I finish our books and go inside. We brush our teeth, check the locks, turn off the lights. Domestic rituals that anchor us to the life we've built together. In bed, with Rachel's head on my shoulder and her breathing settling into sleep, I think about the man I used to be. Christopher James Delaney, who believed in forever and second chances and the power of love to overcome any obstacle. He seems like a stranger now, someone I knew briefly but never really understood. I don't miss him. He was naive, trusting in ways that made him vulnerable to people who collect trust, like trophies. But sometimes I wonder what he would think of the choices I've made, the bridges I've burned, the way I've learned to protect what matters by refusing to expand the definition of what matters. He would probably call me a coward. He would probably say that running away isn't the same as moving forward, that changing your name doesn't change who you are underneath. Maybe he'd be right. Maybe I am a coward who learned to dress up self-preservation as principle. Maybe I robbed Ella of a father and myself of a daughter because I was too damaged to risk being hurt again. But cowards live longer than heroes, and smart choices compound over time into something that resembles wisdom. I built a life that works. I married a woman who accepts the edited version of myself I was willing to share. I sleep soundly in a house where no one can surprise me with their capacity for betrayal. Some people might call that a small life, a careful life, a life limited by fear of what might go wrong. They might be right, but it's mine, and I chose it. And I wake up every morning grateful for the specific combination of circumstances that allows me to exist without apology. That has to be enough. Because the alternative, staying open to all the ways love can destroy you, requires a kind of courage I used to have but lost somewhere in a Hampton Inn on Route 9, along with everything else I thought I knew about forever. Rachel murmurs something in her sleep and shifts closer. I close my eyes and listen to the sound of our house settling around us, solid and secure, and exactly as far from the past as I could make it. In the morning, I'll install outlets in someone else's dream house. Rachel will sell books to people looking for other lives to inhabit temporarily. We'll have coffee together and read different sections of the newspaper and plan our weekend like the married couple we are. It's not the life I planned when I was young and stupid enough to think planning mattered. But it's the life I chose when I learned the difference between what you want and what you can survive. I didn't bury Lauren to punish her. I buried her so I could breathe again. Some wounds are too deep to heal around other people. Some betrayals require the kind of distance that looks like cruelty, but feels like survival. And survival, it turns out, is its own kind of victory, even when it doesn't feel like winning, even when it costs more than you thought you could afford to pay, even when the price includes gray eyes that look like yours, coloring castles with careful precision in a bookstore you'll never visit again. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.